Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Connor from Calculated Risk again, and today I'm bringing you an interesting video for you. It's a retro deck profile. Um, Over the past year or two, I've been testing with Go Control because that's become a huge thing, and a lot of my friends enjoy playing that. And I decided to make a few decks from the format that I first started playing in, which was the September 2007 to March 2008 format. And the best decks during this time was Demise OTK, Perfect Circle, and other Monarch variants, and zombies. And if you don't know what Perfect Circle is, it's Monarchs mixed with Destiny Heroes, which is the deck that I have right here. It's a Perfect Circle deck that ended up winning a Shonen Jump championship in, I want to say it was Washington, D.C. It was the best build that I saw. I can't remember any edits I made because these decks I've been playing for such a long time, but I haven't made edits in a while. But this was the best build that I had seen for Perfect Circle. This is pre-Lad as well, because Perfect Circle got so much better when Lad came out, but this was the format right before Lad came out. So let's get into the deck profile. Three Rises. This was the biggest card then. This card had just come out. Force of the Breaker was the shit. And this card for supers were $45, which is ridiculous considering they're nothing now. But being able to put your opponent back a turn was extremely relevant. This Monarch was so devastating. You know what they're going to do. You hit their monster back at the top, they're probably just gonna have to set it or wait a turn or whatever. They can't do much about this. And once you bounce it back, you put them back the turn and you still are running on Monarchs. Two Zaborgs. This is worse because you destroy a monster. That's all it does. But that's still really good. Being able to destroy a monster is pretty important. Two Mystic Tomatoes. Back then, cards that were destroyed by battle was much better than they are now. Because right now, people probably don't like playing these because there's Drago Sack and Big Eye. So cards like Mystic Tomato can't really strive right now. I feel like. Two Cyber Dragon. This card was amazing back then because this was the biggest card that you could just drop, and I mean it kind of is still right now. A lot of people consider a few formats ago Thunder King is the attack barrier, but back then besides effects and Cyber Dragon, the biggest monster were 1800. You need Card Trooper or Breaker or this to run over important cards like Stratos and Zombie Master. And just being 2100, you can run over breakers that haven't used their tokens. That's really important. Because there aren't that many traps either. So there's a lot of times where breaker will just be sitting there with its counter still on. Because it's 1900 and a lot of people think it just won't die. Next up, two Malicious. You can only use two Malicious during this format, which was kind of weird. Because when I looked it up, I was assuming you could use 3 of this and 3D draw. But it was 2 of this and 2D draw. But I kind of like that. I feel that's more fair. So that's what else. It's one. The best, no, it's not the best, but it's a really good Destiny hero. One Fearmonger. If you don't know what it is, it's when it's destroyed by battle, you can special summon a Destiny hero from your graveyard during your next standby phase. And this was the ridiculous Destiny hero that is now banned, and I hope it never comes back. It's a level 1, and it's one special summon from your graveyard, you draw 2 cards. That's it. So use Fearmonger, use Premature Burial, Call the Haunted, any card like that, just summon this, draw 2. That's it. It's really stupid. One Stratos, just tutors all your D-draw Destiny hero targets. One Sangan, tutor. One Trooper. Again, 1900, could slam into Breaker, could run over Zombie Masters and Stratos. And just drawing a card is really good. And milling, because you can mill cards like Malicious and Treeborn. One Snipe Hunter. This was one of the best forms of removal back then, because they didn't have as many cards as we do now. And although it's very luck reliant, you have a 1 out of 3 chance of missing, so the odds are in your favor that you'll hit. But I mean, I personally don't like it because I have horrible luck with it, but the odds are in your favor that you will destroy a card. One Treeborn. This was a staple back in the day because now we have Frog Monarchs, but back then this was the best form of tribute fodder because it would just keep coming back, and I mean that's why it's good now. But there was no support for it, no real frogs out there except this, and this was limited. But every Monarch variant would have to play this just because you could always have that tribute for the next turn. One Sparrow Reaper, this was a staple, and then one Breaker, and this was a staple. It was spell trap removal was pretty limited too, so you had to play cards like Breaker. Spells, you play 2 G draws, just sends this commander and those malicious to grave. 2 Pot of Avarice. I mean, it's Pot of Avarice. Like, recycling Monarchs is extremely important as well. Drawing 2 cards, I mean, there's nothing bad about that. 2 Lightning Vortex. There was no Dark Hole. This was, like, the best form of removal back then. Or monster removal in spell form or monster form. If you don't know what it does, it just says discard a card and destroy all face-up monsters on your opponent's side of the field. 1 Reinforcement in the army to add all your Destiny Hero stuff. 1 Premature Burial, Special Summon this command, or any other card you need. 1 Scapegoat. This card's weird. Like, I understand why it was played, but it's not that great, because, like, you can't tribute someone with it. So, like, basically you use this as an extra wall, which I really like, because, like, cards like Azura Priest didn't exist, or they existed, but they weren't played. So, like, this just served as, like, another wall in a losing position. So, I really liked it, but I really don't like it at the same time. It's really weird. I guess it's a really good card in the end. 1 Misty. There was only 1 back then. 1 Storm. Staple. Brain Control. Staple. Like, this is really important because, like, back then it was used for, like, tribute fodder and stuff. Like, using a Monarch deck, like, just getting, like, a +2, basically, is really, really good off of Brain Control. I'm really glad it's banned. Next up, 3 Phoenix from Moonblast. Basically, Perfect Circle use these and Rises to, like, keep putting them back a turn. So that you can never really do anything different. Like, you can kind of lock them down with Phoenix from Moonblast and Rises. So that was, like, one of the best cards back then. Transmigration Prophecy. This was interesting, and not a lot of decks were playing this, but, like, it was really good. Like, I normally play with the other decks, because, like, a lot of my friends like playing this deck the most. But, this card just cripples the shit out of zombies. Like, they go Book of Life, you just Transmigration. They Premature, you Transmigration. You need to get a card back, you Transmigration. This card is amazing. Like, I don't know why a lot more decks didn't play it back then. 1 Torrential is staple, Call the Haunted staple, Mirror Force staple, and then this card, because this is, like, the stupidest card to exist. It's Crush Card Virus. Has been banned for a while, but it's, if you don't know what it does, it's tributed a 1,000 or less attack Dark Monster, and you look at your opponent's hand and all their cards on the field, destroy all 1,500 or more, and then you look at the next 3 draws, or look at the next 3, look at their hand for the next 3 turns, or, like, what they draw, not what they search, but what they draw, and get rid of them if they're 1,500 or more. And, by the way, YouTube, this card you could only get at the time if you won a Shonen Jump, so they were like $3,000. I've had, like, arguments with friends, like, that I should just take this out because, like, it's not really fair because people realistically didn't just have these. But, I don't know, I want to play it the way that it was supposed to be played, and the way it was supposed to be played was with the Crush card, so. That's it, YouTube. I want to say it's like 40 cards or something. I didn't really count, I'm sorry I didn't, but I am lazy. I will be posting the zombie deck profile at some point, but not right now. I also want to see if I can get my, like, webcam quality better, because, like, this doesn't seem very good. But, thanks for watching, YouTube. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and, peace out.